When you think of the Game Boy, you don't necessarily think about controllers. I'm sure there's somebody out there who made a cartridge that you can connect to your PC or via Bluetooth, and if not, somebody has to do that right now. Anyways, a couple of videos ago I looked at this controller here, and IINE took it upon themselves and made this tiny little thing. It's called the IINE Mini Retro Ananke controller and can be bought for about $20. It comes in this green, it comes in a transparent purple that looks something like this, and it also comes in a transparent black. When it arrives in the box, you get the controller itself, a user manual that's in Chinese and English, a USB A to C cable, and this silicone lanyard thing that you can attach to the controller down here. Now, as we all know, controllers come in many shapes and sizes. Some of them are really good, and some of them are really bad. But what about this mini controller here? Well, to be honest, after testing it for a while, it's actually quite good. Despite its size, it's actually quite usable and fits in my hand pretty well and works perfectly for Game Boy, Game Boy Advance, Game Boy Color, NES and so on. As long as you don't need an analog joystick. But for something like PSP, you can hold this little button and then press the minus button and this will turn into an analog joystick. As I said, you probably only need something like that for the PSP though. Speaking of buttons, let's look at the layout. You have a D-pad, 4 face buttons, 4 shoulder buttons, a plus and minus button, a home and capture button, and a turbo button. Now if you're used to the Game Boy like me, you will constantly press the home and capture button instead of the plus and minus button. That's one of my biggest gripes with this controller. I wish that you could remap them or that they just straight up switch the location of the two. This is what I call the Switch controller syndrome. Ever since the Switch came out, every controller needs to have a plus and minus button that are always on top, and it results in strange layouts like this. Now you might wonder how usable it is. And as I already said, it's actually quite good. It works via Bluetooth and wired, so you can use it on your Android phone, on your iOS phone, on your PC, or on your Switch. And this brings me to one thing I want to really point out, the D-pad. I would claim it's almost perfect. What I mean by that is many D-pads have certain dead zones when you press a direction and then move left or right. With this D-pad, on top you have no problem, on the right side you have no problem, on the left side you have no problem, only when you press down and left you will sometimes have misinputs. Down and right you have none, but down left is a little bit iffy. But when you compare this to a controller like the 8-bit SN30 Pro, which has these missed inputs on almost every side, I would have to say, if they would fix this little problem down here, then this would be the perfect D-pad that I would love to see on every controller moving forward. To wrap things up, I believe this is a nifty little device with one major flaw and one minor flaw, the major being the start and select and the minor being the D-pad. Other than that, I would actually recommend it.